In South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa has been given an ultimatum to publish a confidential affidavit on how the country would arrest Russia's President Vladimir Putin when he comes to South Africa for a summit next month. Ramaphosa filed the affidavit in the High Court in response to a court application by the Democratic Alliance opposition party seeking clarity on the procedure the government will follow in executing a warrant of arrest against Putin. Putin's attendance of a BRICS summit in the country next month has come under scrutiny after the International Criminal Court issued a warrant of arrest for Putin over the Ukraine war. As a member of the ICC, South Africa is obliged to arrest Putin. But now a new political party, Build One South Africa, has stepped into the furore, asking for the affidavit to be made public. Joining me now to follow developments in this story is Professor Dirk Coetzee, Political Sciences Professor from the University of South Africa. Professor, welcome to NC Continental Prime. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
So let's start with this letter. What do you make of the letter sent to the president by the Build One South Africa party requesting that this affidavit that is actually in response to the Democratic Alliance be made public? Is this fair, or are they also joining, quote unquote, this fight?
Well, I think by implication they are joining the Democratic Alliance, which is our main opposition party. That court case to a large extent, although they've actually missed the opportunity in the beginning. And I think the fact that they've realized that they are not sort of in the same position as the Democratic Alliance, that is why they haven't joined officially the court case, but they have now sort of on the sideline now try to preempt, in a sense, what the DA tries to achieve by outside court, putting pressure on President Ramaphosa to make public of what he said in his confidential affidavit.
Okay, so you talk about Build One South Africa attempting to put pressure on the president, but the president's spokesperson has labeled the letter an attention-seeking stunt. And you said the party has also missed out on an opportunity to come together with the Democratic Alliance. What do you make of the reaction from the president's spokesperson that this is just a mere attention-seeking stunt that's actually happened? And do you really think writing to the president was quite necessary on the part of Build One South Africa?
You know, this party, Build One South Africa, is a very small party. They haven't participated in any elections yet. They were formed by the former leader of the Democratic Alliance. So it's just sort of also about internal politics between two opposition parties of trying to receive the most attention or public attention. But there's no comparison between the Democratic Alliance as the main opposition party, as the official opposition in the South African Parliament, and this party with no support yet. As I said, they haven't participated in any elections. So I think they try to position themselves for next year's election, the next year's national and provincial elections, and try to see what type of mileage and attention they can get out of this. But I think most of us see this as a bit opportunistic, and that the real effort in order to get some clarity from what the government's approach will be if President Putin arrives in South Africa comes from this court case that the Democratic Alliance has taken to court.
And you've answered my next question, which was really about the impression that this gives of the party. And you said you and some others see this as being very opportunistic. So let's look at the president now. So he has until July 14th to respond. Do you see the president reacting to this letter? Even though it's a letter, there doesn't give it a lot of legal impetus. It's more about the response to the Democratic Alliance in courts, which is the one, of course, that is now being built on by the Build One South Africa party. So what do you think we should expect as a response from the president?
No, I think there will be no response. The president has already responded to the action taken by the Democratic Alliance. He submitted his affidavit, although it is confidential, so it's not in the public domain at this stage. But that has been done. So that receives all the attention. These other groups, like, for example, BOSA, is a bit of a side show, if I can put it in those terms, but it will not receive any major attention because the Democratic Alliance, in terms of political weight, in terms of political impact, is just so much more than any of these other smaller parties like this one. So my prediction is that nothing will come from this.
All right, and while nothing may come from this, the lead up to the conference, to the BRICS summit, is one that many of us are following very closely to see how South Africa does decide to handle itself. Professor, thank you so much for joining me, and of course, I know we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you very much.